Hello, this is Flo.
Hello, this is Brandon.
What's up? It's Sandy.
Hello, this is Jane, and welcome to String Along.
Alright, so welcome to String Along episode 11. Today's topic is actually going to be about graduation or after graduation for all four of us. So just to begin with, to all of us, how do you feel after graduation?
Shitty.
Shitty? Why is
Very
that?
difficult.
Ooh, okay.
It's been a long journey, especially graduating in the pandemic. It's not easy. Uh yeah, there's just so many things. Like I'm still searching for jobs, and it's I kind of feel like I'm stuck in between, like not knowing where I'm going in life with my career and stuff like that.
I think in general, everyone, I'm pretty sure, like myself, no one knows what they want to do, especially after graduation. Because back in middle school or back in even like kindergarten, we've been programmed to think that we're going to the next level in life. And then we're so used to that. And then once we get to college, that's when shit starts getting serious. And we don't even know what we want to do. And people say, oh, take different majors and see what you want. But to be honest, I feel like that's so difficult because nowadays companies are hiring people with good GPA and people with experience. And yeah, depending on how you see it, I would say that's why I would say it's difficult.
Yeah, no, I think it's like we have been conditioned our whole lives to keep going to school. And then now it's like after college, you're kind of just wondering what you're supposed to do next, because most people, they try to find jobs, and now it's just like your whole cycle is kind of messed up.
I agree with Brandon and Sandy. So I was lucky enough to get a job right after college, and I'm still working there for over a year now, but I still feel lost and not being able to like go to school and just like studying. And now like I have to figure out my whole life ahead of me. It's very hard. It's very difficult because like now I have to start paying for my own stuff. Because I'm making more money, it's like I have to give more to or spend a lot more, which is difficult. And like now I need to start thinking about what I want to do next in life, not just in a career wise is but like for like buying a house or buying a new car or everything. It's just up to what I do now. It's not even just studying and like passing and failing. It's like how well I do my work and my life.
That's adulting. That is very, very adult.
100% agree. I just put in full screen mode, so later on it might be an issue. But just talking about how difficult it is now that we've just graduated. I think the craziest part is that every time, every new chapter in life, it always becomes harder. And yeah, up until college, we always have a path made for us, but it always becomes harder and harder and harder. And at this point, now that we're done with graduating college, now we're fully independent. We got to start making money, pay for our loans, pay for bills, and it gets harder. But I can't imagine what's gonna happen even after that. Right? Right now we're past the graduation point, but once we get to marry and we have kids, what's gonna happen after kids? Like, how are we gonna have to handle with
Whoa.
kids? Every part of life, like life has so many parts in itself that there's too many steps where we get confused along the way. And after graduation is one of the big ones right now. But I'm sure it's not gonna be the last.
I wanted to say that I thought it was so funny that you mentioned like marriage and kids and all those, and then like for the past like year since the pandemic, I've been seeing like all my elementary school friends and high school friends and stuff, like they're all married and have kids now, and I'm just like, wow, like I feel like maybe I'm like a little bit on the slower side of like life, because I think usually after college, people start to realize that they need to get settled down or something.
It
Mhm.
kind of sucks too because now that we're dating someone after college, it's like you kind of need to like start thinking about it. But I just feel so young still where I don't want to think about like marriage, but then I don't know what the other person that I'm gonna date or yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. So
The reason why I brought up marriage in the first place is because a lot of people are our age. varying from 22 to like 30 at this point right now. Right after graduation, they're going through marriage. But right now, we're only tackling one issue, which is looking for jobs, being more independent. But what about those people right now? Maybe some of you viewers who are actually dealing with marriage, kids, while at the same time just graduating college. I can't imagine what it is like. But I definitely agree with the fact that it is difficult, especially going through the pandemic where, you know, it's harder to find a job at the same time. But we got to deal with loans and being more responsible, more independent. Um, so personally, for me, after graduation, is definitely a whole experience that I'm not ready for, or I wasn't ready for, and I'm dealing with it slowly at a time. And as Gary Vee, mentions, the motivational speaker, he states that no one really has their life set,
Figured out.
figured out.
Hmm.
Parents are trying to have their kids figure out their lives as soon as possible, but even parents don't even have their lives figured out. That's what he says. And so wherever we're at, even though we're having issues, troubling, like finding jobs, I think it's fine wherever we are as long as we're progressing and moving forward. So even though personally I don't have a job and I'm kind of like lost in some ways, I don't know what I want to do eventually. Um, as long as I know that I'm moving forward, it makes me happy in some ways. I don't know if it's the same for you all. But yeah, I mean that's my take on that. Like I don't have a job. I'm going to grad school. I know that I'm slowly moving forward. It's not really exactly the same path I want to take, but since I'm moving forward, I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, as long as you're putting your foot out the door, dude, you're definitely doing something rather than, just staying at home doing nothing and just waiting for applications, or like it's more of a security for yourself, because you just want that feeling of, actually doing something, at least to, make up for the times that I'm losing. So even a simple workout is also a good sign of, doing something.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I feel that it's very discouraging when you're like sending out like so many applications to like jobs and stuff, and then sometimes you don't even hear back from them, and the times that you do hear back from them, all you get is rejections. It's just like um it's I wish the process wasn't as difficult.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, even speaking from like before pandemic, it's always been like that. And especially now, more than ever, so many people need the job. And the fact that people are just thinking that, oh, they just need a job. I personally think that, yes, it's kind of, in a way, like that's a college student thinking, where we're still lost and we're just gonna accept any job that we want. But at the same time, it's like, do I really want to do this job? And then, that's when we're lost most of the time.
That is so true, yeah. Because it's just like a norm to find a job after you graduate, especially when you spend 4 years
Exactly.
and extra, loans and money on a degree, and then eventually after those 4 years, that degree doesn't even land you a job. I think that's like the hard part. So eventually, all of us we're just looking for a job just for the sake of the money, and just because of the fact
Right.
that we've got a degree, so we feel like we should at least have a job. That's the least we should do. And eventually, if we can't find a job, that's like the hardest part.
And it's also crazy because when I was in middle school, I was looking forward to high school. When I was in high school, I was looking forward to college. And I was always like, oh, I'm going to do better next time. But I feel like after graduating from college, it's like full of just regrets of, oh, I should have done better in high school. I should have done better in college. So it's really hard to like look forward to what we have in front of us when like a lot of us we're lost and like we don't know what to do, and like whatever job that accepts us will accept it and we'll kind of work on it and try to um just go through the path and try to get to a higher position within that departments. But is that really what we want to do, or is it a waste of time to actually do what I want to do you know
Mm-hmm.
I feel like no matter how old, or like the older we get, it's not about knowing what we want to do, but it's more of like, I feel like it's just more of how we grow differently. You know how everyone has a path, right? But there's so many different routes to take, and maybe like getting a job, or getting not getting a job and getting rejected, is a way to go through another route. Because I've been rejected so many times, and I've definitely felt discouraged. And this is not what college has planned me for, you know? Even during interviews, I'm pretty sure all of us, we've definitely felt so nervous that we don't even know how to talk to people. So it's crazy bad. And you're not alone, like to the viewers or whoever's watching.
And so I want to bring up the fact, like, so just so like our viewers can have a better understanding of how we're personally spending our time after graduation. Like, just to give them a tip, how are we currently spending our time after graduation, and how should they possibly spend their time as soon as they graduate if they can't find a job or with whatever problems we're currently.
I think a lot of people, or at least what I've read on the internet, like a lot of people, they took their time to go and travel because, you're stuck at this job for the rest of your life. So you might as well like have some fun before you go into a job. But personally, for me, I've been learning coding, kind of just like preparing myself, like if I needed it, that would be like a good skill to have. Um, I've also been
So developing new skill sets, pretty much.
mhm.
For me, I started work right away, but I I'm not just working and I'm not just, getting paid for like I always want to improve. So I am definitely working on myself as well. Like I would recommend to just build your resume, like just get some certificates that you could get. There's so many free ones online that you could get. If you're just free, like work on a skill because people that look at your resume like for the first time and you don't have much in there, people would just like look through and just skip to the next one. But if you have a lot of skills, like that's very eye-catching. So instead of just applying with no skills, I would
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely recommend to build your skills and certificates, license, anything, and then start applying to jobs.
Technically, even given the opportunity that we were given, we have the chance to do or take a certificate. I'm 100% sure a lot of us or most of us are lazy, especially during our college years. We're definitely like, we don't need that. But we don't realize like, yeah, it could be useful. But at times, and sometimes people may say, oh, it's a waste of time because there's so many different like, because I've done real estate and I'm gonna get my license soon, but then again, because of the pandemic, I haven't really gotten a chance to take the test. But yeah, I've always thought to myself, is it a waste of time? Not. It could be difficult, but I think yeah, building that experience is definitely worth it.
I mean, even if you don't get like certificates or whatever, like you could learn a new language. That's always like a plus when finding jobs. Even if it's not for finding jobs, it's good for like when you go travel or just want to speak to other people and open up your eyes to like different cultures and stuff.
Mhm.
And also, like, if when you like study as well, like how when you graduate, you're like, oh, I'm done with studying, I'm done with taking classes for the rest of my life. Like, no, like now it's important to learn something that is actually valuable for your life. And also learning a language is actually really, really good because that gives you more opportunity to network with other people. And if you really don't want to like learn a new skill or get a certificate while you're not doing anything, then just go meet people. Honestly, that could get you a job as well. I think networking is
Yeah.
one of the most important thing. Like meet your mutual friends, ask your friends to hang out with their friends, like just anything. Just don't stay home and do nothing. Even though during this pandemic you should stay home. Don't hang out
Don't
with
hang out with
people.
people.
And
Wait,
so,
I mean, technically, wait, Flo, for you, do you think that even though we take all these classes, isn't it crazy that, maybe some of the lessons that we learned in class is actually not really that useful, or it pretty much isn't preparing us for the real life
uh-huh.
um
So that's exactly
adult
what I
life.
wanted to. That's exactly what I wanted to bring up for the next question. It's like, so for me personally, the biggest thing I've learned from college was actually social skills.
Mm.
And sadly enough, it's got nothing to do with classes, no textbook things, nothing like. Don't get me wrong. I learned some stuff about accounting. Like assets equals
No, you
liabilities
didn't.
plus stockholders equity. Those
Yeah,
small things. I've learned all those small
get out
things.
of
Like,
here.
But the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I've learned that's gonna help me forever in life, that I've learned in college, is social skills. How to deal with a bunch of people from the same age randomly, just taking the same class, same club, and all that. That I can currently take in along, and eventually, thanks to college, I'm more comfortable with socializing with random people, and outside of school or any of that. So even though there's a lot of classes that aren't really useful, my next question for you all was actually going to be, um, what was the biggest take you've had from graduation that you can take for after graduation? What did you learn during school that is most impactful for after graduation for you?
There's so many different kinds of people out there that you would think that, people are gonna be like you, but they're not. You Us as an individual, that's why we're all different in a way, but it's surprising that you'll meet different types of characters in school. And it was really shocking, to be honest. Because in high school I didn't really care. But when you got to college, I was just like, dang, like how like there's those like team projects, and then there's that one guy that doesn't do the project and
Hmm.
stuff like that, but he still gets the credit, stuff like that.
Right. So in some ways, you're talking about how you like adjusting to groups and then the diversity within
Yeah.
college, and that like helped you adapt to it and learn more about it. That's pretty cool.
But then again, you meet other unique people. Everyone has
Yeah.
different like everyone has different personality that some you can have a good chemistry with, and then others you really, I don't know, it's just hard to talk or to continue a conversation.
Hmm.
Maybe it's the social group, but I feel like a lot of people would definitely get that from college, 100%.
Yeah, the things I've realized in my time in college, which I feel like I could apply to life now, is like to be more relaxed, I guess. Not relaxed, but more like having fun and just living your life, because life is pretty short, and once you realize that you know you're going to be doing the same thing the rest of your life, you just want to have as much fun as possible.
Yeah, for me as well, like I was a math and chemistry. I definitely learned more information than like how to apply them. So I definitely did not learn much because I don't really care how hydrogen bonds with oxygen, like I really don't, it doesn't really apply to what I'm doing. But one thing I definitely learned was work-life balance for sure. Because in college we were able to study and really focus on school as much as like having fun and going to parties and stuff. So that's one thing I definitely learned through college. So I would work hard now and then I would have fun. And like I would know how to have fun and forget about work until the next day when I need
Wait,
to start working again.
that is so interesting. I never considered school as a job, like it's a work and work and life balance. That's really interesting because it's like
Yes.
homeworks are your job and you have to do them. It,
Mhm.
it, it needs to be due soon.
One thing I learned from that is that when you're focusing hard, you could finish things faster, right? Like when you really concentrate on something. When you're doing other stuff, like it's really hard to finish your task or finish your homework. But when you really focus and just sit there, that's one thing I definitely learned because Brandon, you saw me and like Flo too. When I'm hanging out with you guys, I finish work really fast in the morning and then I'm like free for the rest of the day. Don't tell my work, but honestly, like that's one thing I definitely learned how to just like focus and like just working really hard, like really fast, and then I'm free for the rest of the day.
You know what I've read recently? Pretty much is like uh I read that procrastinators are like the best people, or uh lazy people are the best people because they try to find solutions to doing something like the
The
easiest
easiest
way.
way.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it cuts down like the time it takes to do something because they want to be lazier.
Say like you're in like using Excel and you're like, like non-lazy people, they'll actually like read everything or like calculate everything on their own. But lazy people, they're way too lazy to even calculate that on their own. So they would just find a different function to calculate it for you. So
Yeah,
some people are
exactly.
Mhm.
You just gotta make sure you find the one that's smart and lazy. And I think I don't know if you got that from Bill Gates, but the quote that I have from Bill Gates was like he would rather hire someone that's lazy than non-lazy because the person who's lazy is gonna do it. He's gonna find a simpler or faster way to do it,
Hmm.
which is pretty cool, I think. Um, But I think what's crazy about college is the fact that most of the things that we've learned, actually, that's going to be very useful in our lives, isn't the things that they're teaching up front, but it's more about the things we learn sideways or outside of the things that we learn.
So relating to what Jane was saying about jobs and stuff. So you know how people do repetitions of jobs, right? They do things repetitively and it's to a point where people would just feel bored. And then yeah, how do you think people would do that? Like if you just graduate and then the only thing you're doing is the same thing over and over again every day, does that, do you think people would feel satisfied with that? Or because we're still stuck on wanting to do what we want to do, right?
I think
Mm,
that's why people are like, "Oh, you should get a job that you want to do. That way it doesn't feel like a job."
Mm. But sometimes like we just said, like people would just sometimes just take it. And I have a friend who told me that yeah, he's working for a company, but he's he's so sick and tired of doing the same thing that he just wants to do it just, to get by and to get, the right amount, financially.
Mhm.
And he's told me like, yeah, it sucks because it's boring to him. But how can we find that, dream job while, we're still struggling,
I think for me, I definitely had that phase where I felt like everything I was doing is very repetitive. So what I started doing, okay, in the beginning when you first start work, because it's new, it doesn't feel like it's boring. So everything is super exciting and you take a long time to do it. And as you're doing it, you're improving, you're shortening up the time. And so you something that you did for like 2 hours, you could do it in like 30 minutes, you know? And while um as you're taking less time doing it and getting comfortable, I think that's when you feel and everything is repetitive. But what I do is because I shorten up the time to like 30 minutes instead of spending 2 hours like I did in the beginning, I would try to look for something else or figure out a way where I could even shorten it instead of just doing it the way that you've always been doing. I feel like there's always a better way. So you could look for that, or you could either just spend that hour and a half that you're free, just, you know, self-developing and like learning something else, or during the work you could look for something else within the work. You could ask your manager like, "Oh, I was able to shorten up my time. Is there anything else I could do? Or I've been wanting to do this. Could I give it a try?"
Oh, that's actually pretty smart. Do you have a question, Flo? Did that have a build up?
I did have my question, and I can bring it back to it. I'll talk about it later, but I do want to mention the fact I want to add on to what Jane has just said right now, and it's about being proactive. I think in this culture or in this modern day society now, it's all about being proactive. It's not about just doing the minimum or the things that you're asked to do, but it's about doing more, above and beyond. Because at this point, it's so competitive that everybody's just doing excelling. They're doing more and all that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how we spend our year after graduation, and it was talking about self improvement, right? Learning our own skills. A lot of us are already doing that. Some of us aren't, and they're falling behind. But the ones that are actually progressing and studying more along the way, and learning all those new skills, they're moving forward, and those people are being proactive. So I think personally, in the modern society, like in the world like that we're living now, it's all about taking action first. And I believe as Steve Jobs, or not even Steve Jobs, it was more like Elon Musk. I've seen a lot of Instagram posts, and maybe you have too. But he's mentioned that college is useless at this point because you can learn everything online. Everything, all the information is free. Um, and if you're not moving forward, it's just because you're lacking discipline or you're not actually putting the effort to. Uh, and technically, so just up to this point, it's more like with the amount of knowledge we can have, to what limit should we keep moving forward, and where can we be satisfied? Where can we find how
Mm.
should we know what job we would be happy and what to focus on when there's so much information that we can learn? Where do you say stop? Kind of.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to put it.
That's my question to you all.
I don't think you should ever like stop like learning. I think it's just as human beings, we should continue learning and growing from things. That's how we've gotten so far, like to, all these technology in our world. Uh, you should always be like doing something.
I think just
But
keeping your mind occupied. I think that's because I know like my parents, like even though when they're bored, they would try to do something, or even like even my grandma, she'd just clean just to get by and figure out I guess like just even daily tasks is like a thing, like cleaning routine. But yeah, some people just do that.
mhm.
I don't think there's a stop, but I see what you mean by when there's a stop. Unless like you're making
Yeah,
billions worth of money.
because I feel like at a point like this, it's like everybody's so competitive that they want to learn as much as they can, as many skills as they can, and at a certain point, it's gonna be overwhelming. It's gonna be like, dude, I'm burning out. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, and there's a lot to learn. It's like I'm learning so much, yet I'm still not moving forward. I feel like I'm not accomplishing what I want to do in life. And then so for a lot of people, it could be overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like one thing that I actually wonder what I should do even now. I feel like when I learn something or a language or even coding or something, just focus on one thing and I learn it. I feel like there's someone that's better than me. Are there too many people that are better than me? Because there's like a
But
limit. So is it better for me to learn a lot of skills, but just like a basic amount or maybe a little above that? Or is it better just to know one skill?
oh, it's like okay, I see what you mean. It's like it's either you're very a certain like type of information, or you want to diversify your ideas, or like just knowing about
Your
different things at a
knowledge,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I personally think that it's all about personality. So no matter what you do, yeah, there's someone better than you, but if you are different in a sense that, you're sociable, people can actually like have a good conversation with you. I think it's a lot of human personality. It doesn't matter like how good you are at some things, but if you really can't show that, personality, it plays a big factor. You may know so much about a computer, and but if you don't know how to talk to people, there's no point. I
Yeah.
mean, some people are like that, but
Mm.
but they're good at what they do. So yeah, there's always gonna be people, but just stick to how you are, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think charismatic people, they tend to go further in life. I mean, look at Obama. He was very charismatic.
And I feel like just going back to like focusing on what Jane mentioned as well. It's more about we always want to diversify. We always want to know as much as we can from different aspects in every field. But there's one to focus. Um, and I think this world is so competitive to the point where everybody's trying to learn everything. Focusing on one thing seems like it's so little, or at least that's how I currently feel. I feel like I don't know if y'all feeling this way, but back if you were talking about 5 years, 10 years ago, nobody really was talking about stocks, or not that many people were talking about stocks and stuff like that. But now you're talking about to all the 18 years old, 20 years old, they all know about stocks. That's a source of income, right? That's one source of income that's now known by everybody, and that's just an example of making money, but that is like now diversified to everybody, and everybody knows about that way. Everybody knows about real estate now. So now almost everybody knows about everything. And it's like now you need to prioritize yourself in knowing one field, and I think being the best at it, like mastering it.
No, I couldn't agree more, but it's also because we are more exposed. We are more likely to learn because there are people that are willing to teach. Because back then, I'm pretty sure it was so competitive, people don't want to teach each other. But now, in a sense, people are willing to learn and people are willing to teach. I think that's definitely a big like advantage for us, especially for our generation. But at the same time, it's like I feel like as our generation grow, as we get older, it's like we get tired of these things and we're just like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. We lose our focus easily,
Mm-hmm.
like super easily.
Yeah, I feel like we need to be unique in certain way. Like you could learn how to do one thing. Say like I was Korean, but I grew up with like, Caucasians or so it was unique for me to speak Korean or having that language as my second language because no one else around me was able to speak Korean. But when I'm in OC now, like everyone could speak Korean. It's weird if that Korean like, oh, he can't speak Korean. Like, that's weird to us now because I live in OC. So imagine like a Korean like me speaking Spanish fluently, or even Flo, he speaks French fluently, and which is very like unique and yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
it's
unique for us. So I think that's something that we could maybe focus on, something out of our bubble.
think of it this way too. Your personality can be a different impact on people because yeah, this other guy has two different languages, right? But he doesn't have that personality that you have, and you're more likely to be more open, and you understand coming from a different country too. You have an advantage in understanding different culture. So in a
Yeah.
sense, like that makes you very unique. And that's what I'm saying. Like people, wherever you've grown up or like however you see it, like you just gotta know personality or the way you talk to people too. There's those boundaries, social boundaries. If you watch our previous episode, awkwardness and social cues, yes, it's just like that. Understanding how you are. I think that's like a big advantage for us.
That's also
Right.
why it's so important to not just show what you did in your resume, but actually like show your personality through your
Yeah,
resume. And even for interviews, like they already looked at your resume before you came into the interview. Instead of focusing on what you did and your accomplishments, like just really show them like who you are and why it seems like you're different than the other candidates.
Yeah, that's
but don't
true.
try too hard. Don't try too hard because people will be like, "Oh, he seems fake." You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's very crucial for post graduation for sure. And I want to bring up the final question for us. It's talking about now that we know that we can learn so much on online and so much information for free. This is going to be our personal answer. So don't get offended if any of the information is wrong or doesn't match yours, to our viewers. But now that we've graduated out of college, do you all think college was useful to you or not?
I think it was, and it also wasn't. I feel like everyone doesn't need to go to college. You could, somehow specialize and learn a new skill without college. That's fine. But for me personally, I feel like college. I learned a lot about myself in college. Um, Skills wise, I wish I had more hands on skills, but it'll be like that. Um, but yeah, college was, I wouldn't say it was life changing, but it definitely changed parts of my life.
I definitely agree. I feel like if you know yourself well enough, where you know exactly what you want to do and what you really desire and what you dream of, I don't think college is necessary. Like, I don't think success comes from going to college for sure. But I feel like college is also like a nice step stool to like learn who you are, meet more people, and just have fun too. Like I feel like it will be a regret for most people that they didn't have fun. And also I feel like it is also very important because in this society, especially as Asians, if we don't graduate college, I feel like we might not even get a chance. So that's one thing that if you want to work under someone, then I think college is very important. But if you are dreaming of becoming your own, becoming your own boss and like having your own business, then I don't think college is necessary.
I think that's more of an entrepreneurship skill to have because yeah, school never prepare us for that kind of situation. But definitely, I would say college is very useful just because of I enjoy life, and if I'm gonna join something, I'm just gonna have fun with it because you have that 4 year gap. I mean, yeah, I could have done something else, but it's more of memories. I want to make sure that I can tell stories, relate to people. I think that's the biggest thing in college. And even to the people who don't go to college, there's definitely certain ways that you can relate to them too. Even like talking about who inspires you and all that, even social media. So it may not be useful, but at the same time, it just helps you grow. But then again, I may be wrong. Definitely.
I agree with Brandon actually. Yeah, it's like college, those 4 years that I've spent, they've helped me grow as an individual. Um, there's the opportunity cost. So I don't know what life would have been if I didn't go to college. So I can't, vouch for that. But it helped me learn social skills, how to interact with people. It helped me learn more about myself and what type of person I am. So it was helpful in some ways. I don't know if it was the best choice. It was a good choice. It wasn't. It might have not been the best choice. The only thing I know that I wish college has taught me was learn how to learn. I think that is the one and only skill anybody needs in order to succeed in life. And I think college has failed to teach me that. That's me personally, though. I'm sure a lot of people have learned how to learn in college by, taking classes, learning how to, get a lot of knowledge and to like cram just for an exam. But personally, I didn't get that knowledge or I didn't get that skill. Um, Throughout college, all I was aiming for was to get a good grade, um, just because GPA matters, but it wasn't really to retain that knowledge. And a lot of the knowledge that I've learned hasn't been retained. So it was helpful in the fact that it helped me a lot with social skills, memories, how to interact with people and connect with people. It did not teach me how to better myself in terms of learning educationally, though. Um, but yeah, that is it for String Along episode 11 about post graduation.
So if you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a like and a subscribe. We definitely appreciate you as a viewers. And this is just something that we like talking about life and enjoying every step of the way. So yeah, this is String Along. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll definitely see you next week.
So we got a Discord channel, everybody. Please hop on. There's not that many people that join us. We forgot to put in the description below, but we'll start posting it on from now on. Hop on, just message us, let us know what you like about this topic. Tell us what you want, what you think about college. If you graduate out of post college, let us know what you think about that too.
And please follow us on TikTok at Yes String Along if you want to see Brandon dance or Flo dance or even Sandy dance.
Also follow us on Instagram at Guest String Along to keep updated on all the things that happen in our podcast.
Thank you, and we appreciate
Bye.
it.